We're back to discuss 50 Shades Freed. If you watched our review, we gave it like an average out of everything. Better than the first two. Same director as the second one. They shot it at the same time as the second one, and it feels like they. So, having not read the books, I had a couple of questions for you. Do the events of the second movie and the third movie line up with the second book and the third book?
Yeah, everything lines up.
Okay. So the second book ends where the second movie ended. Mm-hmm. Okay. So to me, the second movie had this thing going where it sort of restated everything that happened in the first movie, and then it had the Jack Hyde character in there for like 10 seconds, and then they get rid of him, and he shows up at the very end to be like the ominous villain character. Mm-hmm. They also have the Layla character, who may or may not come back, and the Elena character, who may or may not come back. So it basically starts like 3 plot threads in the second one that it doesn't, at least in the movie, it doesn't do anything with them. And then in the third movie, we only hear about Layla as
A gun.
the person that, the reason why he has the gun, because she left the gun. Elena sends a text message. That's the only thing that she does in the movie. So Kim Basinger's not in this. And then Jack Hyde goes through like some ridiculous Mission Impossible thing at the beginning, where he's like starts a fire in the server room, which was completely ridiculous.
With a flask.
He had like some
like
kind
a little
of
flask.
Yeah, and then he kidnaps Mia and makes her bring money to him, and I was literally outside of the movie theater for like 45 seconds or a minute. I went to use the restroom, and I missed the entire climax of the movie. Like, she was on her way to take the money to Hyde, and I guess she got there, he beat her up a little bit, the police showed up, that was it, and then she was in the hospital. And
it was almost like a no. I'm passed out.
Like
That's exactly shot him and then passed out.
She shows up, gets out of the car, runs up. He stops her in like the most non-emotional no stop ever, and then all of a sudden he slaps her. She falls to the ground. He kicks her, and then he starts talking to the other girl. She pulls a gun and shoots him. And then the cops show up. I was blown away because I looked at Amber and I was like, "This is it. That's it. We're done here.
That's it."
And then the movie didn't have the common decency to end.
No, it had to give us a.
It had to sum up because that's how the book summed up.
It had to clean up that they were going to be okay with having a baby, and then the credits half start, and then there's the scene with them, 2 years later or something with the baby. I don't know if the books make this clear, but I guess between the first and second books, a year has passed. Mm-hmm. It doesn't say that in the movies. It's just, it just seems like it picked up like the next day or something.
They kind of did a quick, recap of all of the highlights of their life in the movie, but there's no,
In this movie?
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's no timetable. There's no, all of it looks like this took place in the last 6 months.
Well, and they even mixed. There were scenes from the first movie, and then scenes from the second movie, and then scenes from the first movie.
Well, she had a montage where she was, reminiscing, and it was showing scenes from the other movies.
They even messed up the montage.
Everything was just so fast in this movie.
So
But
they
they wanted to go true to the book.
The other thing they wanted to do, which they weren't able to do the last couple times, is get a movie that's less than 2 hours long, because if they can get a movie, this movie's like right on the nose. It's an hour and 45 minutes, which is what you ideally want your movie to be, so that they can turn the theater around every 2 hours. If it's over 2 hours long, then it goes in like a weird 3-hour pattern, and they can't make as much money on the movie at the theater or, up top. So I think they'll potentially do better financially. The only problem is that there was a huge drop-off between 1 and 2. First, because people didn't like the first movie so much and not very many of them came back. But also because they took a year off to get their act together because the creative team didn't work well with the author on the first one. And then they shot the second and third one together in 2016. The second one came out in 2017. The third one's out now. So
it's a great trilogy to watch all one night. Just binge it.
I don't think so.
I can't imagine.
Well, I mean, they had one today. You could come in and see, and the third one would have started at 5 p.m. So actually, their earliest way to see it, it was a 6-hour and 45-minute marathon of all three movies.
Why though? Like, why would anybody do that? I can't imagine anyone that took part in these 3 movies knows anything about making a movie. It's like, I watched a movie, I can make a movie, let's do this. The pacing is garbage. The storytelling is...
There are far more worse movies, though.
Yeah, there are.
There are far more worse movies, and I think that this is the first one of its kind to have caught on with the book and a movie in the genre that it's trying to portray.
Right.
But it's not even close to the books.
It can't be. It can't be, and that's always gonna be the problem with. So, I mean, there's people that aren't comfortable reading the books that'll come see the movie, or people that don't want to read the books that'll come see the movie. But the author had wanted to do more of a straight adaptation with the sex scenes and all of that, and it would have to be NC-17 for that to work, and that means you make no money because big theaters like ours wouldn't run that movie. Mm-hmm. And then when it goes on sale at home video stores, you can't put those on the shelves at Target and Best Buy and Walmart. You basically have to order it off of Amazon or something to get those movies, and that's why they don't make a lot of NC-17 movies, because they're the death warrant for making money back.
Yeah, that's fair.
So, and I don't think, I mean, she may have wanted that. Like, I'm sure that the cooler heads prevailed because we got the movies out. Like, this was the way that most people were going to see these, and then maybe she converts a couple of people to reading the books to get the steamier version of it. I just think that whole thing is like 5 years ago. It's like over. People either did it or they are not. They're not going to.
They waited too long.
And I also don't think that, like, I don't think it's a series that's going to last the test of time. I think it was just one of these fads that it was the right thing at the right time, and that's all the legacy that this has. People aren't going to look back on this series of movies and go, those were really hot series of movies, and they're not going to look back on the books and say, if you wanted to read some real good erotic fiction, that 50 Shades series is where it's at.
No.
It's more like, if you wanted a kinkier version of Twilight, here it is. Because that's what it is.
That's true.
That's literally what it is.
Yeah.
So. Yeah.
We've said all we could say.
Yeah, I think so.
With the previous movies. Well, I mean, just the previous movies, and like when we've commented on their relationship or how the characters all connected. And
I mean, I think the dynamic at the beginning of the movie where they have more of an equal relationship, where she's she's being like teasing and flirtatious, but she's still telling him no, and she's still like, you know, speaking her mind and all of that sort of thing, is better than where things were in the other movies. But it doesn't take long before that starts to disintegrate around the plot things that are going on in this movie. So
Was Predator Prey?
yeah. It's they still didn't get Charlie Hunnam in this,
Yeah.
which, you know,
I'll
It's
be
good
interested
on
to know
Charlie
what the
Hunnam.
other series reboot's gonna be like in like 10 years.
they aren't going to reboot
They're
this.
gonna try.
You know they will.
They're not going to reboot this.
Titanic 2.
Yeah, they're not. No, they're not going to reboot this. I mean, I know E.L. James went and wrote
Dark.
the stupid reverse POV trilogy
Yep.
from Christian's perspective. And I was like, wow.
Did
Like,
it actually do the whole trilogy? I thought you only got the first book because it didn't sell.
the second one's out. Yeah.
Watch out, third one's coming out
Darker
soon.
Darker is out as far as I know. But yeah, it's just, and that's like, you know, she doesn't have any other ideas. Like, there's nothing left. She
She tapped her pen out on those.
well, she took Twilight wholesale and just sexed it up, and like that's,
Had Edward write Bella.
yeah, sure.
Okay.
Like,
I read the first book. I know.
well, I mean, yeah, it was a Kindle sensation. Like, you talk about like the timing being right. What really made that series so big so fast, or the precursor to it, Masters of the Universe, which is what the original Twilight version was called, was that it was disseminated over Kindle, and there was no cost to Amazon or her or anything. So she was just basically, I don't remember if it was free or 99 cents
free.
or something like that, but like you could just get it. And there was this big revolution that women could read steamy sex books on their Kindle, but you couldn't see what the title of the book was. So it's like, then they're just reading a PDF, and it's like this sort of sneaky,
Yeah.
you know,
The brown
they
bag.
get away with something. Yeah, exactly. They're brown bagging their Masters of the Universe.
Nice.
Snow Queen's Ice Dragon. That was her pen name. And with that,
I don't even know. Wow.
if you like the way we do these, please like the video, subscribe, check out all the written and video reviews at dalemaxfield.com, and thanks for watching.